Hey, this is Sreehari from Mr. Phone, and recently the 20,000 to 30,000 price tag in the smartphone market has been glorified out of proportion, and we have seen a lot of phones releasing in that price range, and today we have another one. This is the Vivo V11 Pro, a phone that has a beautiful pool of pixels at the front and comes with a lot of modern tech that anybody would envy. If you haven't subscribed to our channel already, do that and also hit the bell icon right next to it so that you get notified for the videos that we put out. And on the Mr. Phone channel, we are doing a giveaway of the Vivo V11 Pro. Yes, we are giving away a brand new Vivo V11 Pro. So after you watch this video, go and watch that video and you can enter the giveaway in very simple steps. You'll have to comment on that video and I have all the details in that video. So go ahead and watch that and enter yourself into the Vivo V11 Pro giveaway contest. So now let's jump into this review. Talking about the design, the Vivo V11 Pro, how do I put this subtly? It's everything that the Poco F1 is not. This is a brand that always values good looks and aesthetics over nerdy, bland-looking designs, even if they're sturdy. Now, I think we can all agree that the Vivo V11 Pro, just like its predecessors, looks really good, especially in this black and blue edition. It's apparently inspired by an artwork called the Starry Night by one of the most influential figures in the history of Western art, Vincent van Gogh. Now, clearly, the similarity is uncanny, but I am especially enjoying the gold accents. I've never been a fan of the gold color, but I think this has been very tastefully used here. The black and blue shade also has a pseudo color or a color shift where the bottom part looks purple from every angle you look at it, other than if you look straight at it where it looks blue. It's kind of trippy. However, now coming to the cons of that back, it's not glass, it's still plastic no matter how good it looks, and hence it scratches easily. I have only used it for slightly over a week now and it has already scratched up pretty well to the point where one reflection will show all of those scratches. That said, Vivo has assured me that all the retail units of the Vivo V11 Pro will come with a plastic screen guard at the back, just like you have a screen guard at the front. You'll also get a guard at the back to protect the back from scratches, and you also get a case inside if you want to protect it further. Talking ergonomics, the Vivo V11 Pro has done well on that part for the size, although it's slightly on the larger side for me. I myself also am not a fan of big phones, so that might be it too, but it also being in that taller than tall aspect ratio of 19.5:9 also makes it very big to handle. It's clearly past a one-hand phone, and if that's your thing, then this should be perfect. The buttons themselves are pretty good and tactile, and I am nitpicking here clearly, but I myself love wider buttons, but that doesn't mean that I had any problems with these. That's just what I feel. So overall, coming to the design, I think it's a very beautiful, gorgeous looking, unique design. It's not as sturdy as some other phones out there, but if you're someone who values good looks and aesthetics over a sturdy design, then the Vivo V11 Pro should easily be your pick. Easily one of the best features of the Vivo V11 Pro is the display, and I won't be surprised if this is the reason that you buy this phone. Now, there are a lot of things to talk about in the display. First, it's a big 6.41-inch 19.5:9 aspect ratio display with Gorilla Glass 3 on top. Sadly, it's not the latest Gorilla Glass, but I'm not someone who worries about it so much because displays scratch no matter what certification they have. So I am pretty fine with the Gorilla Glass 3 too. It is Super AMOLED. Firstly, because you can't really put an in-display fingerprint scanner inside an LCD display with today's technology, and secondly, because Vivo is awesome and it's damn bright too. I mean, more expensive AMOLED displays surely get bright, but when I saw the Vivo V11 Pro's display, I was sure that Vivo hadn't skipped on the quality of the panel. Quite honestly, I had a ball with this display. I was using the LG G7 Plus earlier, and yes, while using that, I was absolutely smitten by that display and I thought that was the perfect screen size, but after using this one, I am floored and I am spoiled, honestly, and I think it's going to be very difficult for me to go back to that. The display also seems to have a cool color temperature, but I actually don't mind it, and you get the option to change it in the settings, so I ain't complaining about that. Fun fact, the Vivo Nex had a screen to body ratio of 91.24%, and the Vivo V11 Pro actually has a slightly higher ratio at 91.27%. mostly because of the slightly thinner bezels and a very, very, very thin bottom chin. The resolution is still 1080p plus, but I mean, while we want bigger displays, we as consumers still won't be able to differentiate between a Full HD Plus and a Quad HD Plus display, so that's that. And finally, telling you about the display, I go as far as to say that after the Vivo Nex, the Vivo V11 Pro's display has been one of the most impressive displays for me this year. Now, Vivo's take on Android is called Fun Touch OS, but how fun is it really? Well, it's a lot of fun, for sure. The OS is a vibrant take on the bland Android that enthusiasts, including me, love to a great extent. That said, I did not mind using Vivo's Fun Touch OS. It is a quite feature-packed skin on Android. The apps laid out on the home screen is not my cup of tea, so I quickly put the EV launcher on top, which has, by the way, recently become the launcher of choice for us here at Mr. Phone. Talking about Vivo's home screen, apart from all the apps on home page, the universal search works very well, and on the left side of the home screen also you have something called the Jovi Smart Page, where it's like your personal feed, so you get all your information, you get your calendar, favorite apps, weather, etc. I didn't really use it much, but if you want to, it's there. Moving to the settings, obviously it's packed to its gills with features. You get the option to change a lot of settings and really customize the way things look. You have the option to switch between navigation buttons or gestures. I prefer gestures, so I use them. And while everything works smoothly for me, one bug that I noticed was that when you are on the home screen and want to switch to a recent app screen, it refuses completely and you have to do this weird swipe up and then go right to get to the last app, and then again do the gesture for recent apps to get into recent apps. I'm pretty sure it's a small bug that will be fixed by a software update, and let's hope Vivo does that very soon. It is a feature-packed OS, and there are also a few cool things in the settings, like there's a Motorbike Mode, which I think is a very India-specific feature, where it will reject incoming calls while you are riding and will only let you pick up calls or let the calls come to you once you are not moving. So it'll determine what your speed is and then let you take the call. So that's really cool. You can also change the color temperature, as I said, to your liking. And coming to the lock screen tab, this is where you tinker with the always-on display. I think one of my most favorite features in the Vivo V11 Pro 2. It's mostly inspired from Samsung, so you'll find similar colors or similar fonts, but you get a lot of options to add few more things and make it look exactly like you want to. I think on an AMOLED display especially, it just looks freaking beautiful. You'll also find a lot of themes if you really want to make that phone look like yours, and there's a big theme store. You can go and pick app icons, you can change font, you can change the notification bar, you can change whatever you want to and make it look exactly like you want it to. Now let's talk about the fingerprint and face unlock. The fingerprint scanner is an in-display scanner, which is one of the most unique features of the Vivo V11 Pro. And it's a great feat that while no other brand has released a true consumer phone with an in-display fingerprint scanner, Vivo has already sold millions of units with working in-display scanners. For me, it was not the best experience and I still prefer the fingerprint scanners at the back. Even the accuracy wasn't great for me, but then I am someone who generally has very weird problems with fingerprint scanners. I have too many lines on my fingers, so generally scanners don't work with me. But I actually made the whole team check it out and it is a very good in-display fingerprint scanner. Now talking about face unlock, a lot of people have been talking about how there is an infrared illuminator on top to give you a secure face unlock. Well, I don't think that's really true. Obviously there is an infrared illuminator and it does work, but it only works when there is not enough light and it has to illuminate your face. Apart from that, all the other time when you have enough light around you, I think it only uses the stock camera app to recognize if it's you or not. So I'm pretty sure that's not the most secure face unlock in daylight, but you'll be able to unlock the phone even without the screen going on full brightness in dark environments. That's what the IR illuminator is there for. In the settings, you can also turn on an option where it will recognize your face and your fingerprint together. So what it does is as soon as you try to put your finger, it turns on both recognitions, and as soon as one of them is verified, it opens up the screen. So basically, the chances of error is reduced significantly. There are also these tiny visual tweaks, like when you unlock, there are these colorful stripes that run down the top and bottom of the screen, and it just looks magical, I must say. I'm not one to fall for gimmicky software, but yes, here I did. The Vivo V11 comes with a Snapdragon 660 inside, coupled with 6 gigs of RAM. Now coming to performance, the Snapdragon 660 is a perfectly capable processor for a 25,000, 26,000 rupees price tag, and the Nokia 7 Plus, which was so easily recommended by all reviewers this year, had the same processor at a similar price until obviously Poco came around. around. Now the Poco F1 really offers crazy good performance, no doubt, for the price. So if you are someone who's a performance freak and loves performance more than anything, then Poco is a close-eyed buy. But that doesn't mean by any means that the Vivo V11 Pro was slow. I have been using the V11 Pro as my primary phone for the last 1.5 weeks, and I don't miss using a Snapdragon 845 phone. I'm sure they have more raw power when it comes to playing heavy games and doing heavy duty work, but for a normal user who does slight gaming on the side like me, the 660 is a very capable processor. Now there are clear drawbacks. When playing PUBG, the Vivo V11 Pro was topped at medium graphics, where the Poco F1 and the Zenfone 5Z can easily play at high graphics. Apart from that, I didn't feel a difference in gameplay really, because at lower graphics it could keep up with the gameplay and give me a very steady FPS count. If you do want to see a detailed performance review, let us know in the comments, and I'm sure that the performance comparison will bring out all the shortcomings of the Snapdragon 660, but in daily use, there won't be much of a difference unless you sit and compare. And I have to take a very strong stand here, and I think it's a fault of a lot of us reviewers. So all the people who review smartphones are generally tech heads, and that means that we value performance and light user experience over flashy designs or good looking aesthetics, because that is what we love. We love our phone to have raw power so that we can do stuff on it. Hell, if I wanted to buy a phone at 25,000, I'd probably buy the Poco F1 no matter how ugly it looks, because I get an 845 and that performance. But if I have to recommend a phone to someone, a general consumer who I know is not a tech head and doesn't want crazy performance as much as he or she wants an overall package, then I'd easily recommend the Vivo V11 Pro over the Poco F1, purely because it's an overall good package. So my final verdict on the performance part is this: if performance is priority over anything else, get the Poco. If not, the Vivo V11 Pro shall serve you with valor. Here I also bring up call quality, where while I had no problems with the quality of calls themselves, they were pretty good. I had a lot of dropped calls on this. That said, we've never had such a problem with any other Vivo phone in the past, so I'm pretty sure that because we have a pre-production unit for review, this problem exists and the retail units should be perfect. Although if you do face the same problem, let us know in the comments. The headphone jack here is also pretty standard. I was able to get good volume out of it, and the fact that it's on the bottom does help. While playing games on this is an amazing experience, I'll ask you to do that while plugging in your earphones, because it's already slim pickings on bezels here, and when playing a game, you're pretty much guaranteed to cover up the single speaker, and while the speaker itself is pretty respectable for a single speaker, it is just an uncomfortable experience when playing games. Okay, so now coming to the cameras, the Vivo V11 Pro has a 12 megapixel f1.8 sensor and a 1.28 micron pixel size. There is also a 5 megapixel secondary lens with an f2.4 aperture for depth information. The front also has a whopping 25 megapixel sensor with an f2.0 lens for sharp selfies. Now this is fairly good camera hardware for the price, so then how does it perform in day to day? I must say I am impressed. The daylight pictures came out very good looking. I was able to click some very good looking pictures with it. By default, the dynamic range was good, and turning on HDR mode made it even better. The night shots were again not too fun, and I think they still need to work a lot on that low light part, but overall it was a good experience. I'm not a big selfie taker, but the selfies were awesome. The colors were really good. There is a very extensive AI beauty mode where you can even change the shape of your jawline or your face. It's just packed with features. I'm not a fan of all these things, but if you are, then you get that here. Basically, it's a fun experience and you get a good selfie camera too. Apart from low light, the other weak part of the Vivo V11 Pro is the video. So Vivo V11 Pro first of all caps out at 1080p, 30 FPS, and doesn't even have EIS on that. The Vivo V11 Pro is sitting at a price range where all the phones, even the phones priced lower than that and the phones priced higher than that, use EIS. The Poco has EIS, the Mi A2 has EIS, the Honor Play has EIS. So I think the Vivo V11 Pro should also have EIS. Obviously the hardware is capable, so let's hope that Vivo rolls out a software update to put that EIS and make that camera very capable again. The Vivo V11 Pro comes with a 3400 mAh battery, which is not good and not bad. The size is not that big a problem, but the fact that the display is so big and so bright obviously affects the battery life. That said, it's an AMOLED display, so if you use a black wallpaper, use black elements, then obviously you'll save a lot of battery life. I generally got pretty okay battery life on this. It wasn't like bad. I wasn't surprised. I would have loved to see a slightly bigger battery, even if it meant increasing the thickness a bit, but that's me. But I think Vivo understands that most Vivo customers would prefer a sleek design over thick phones. Let me know if that's not the case below in the comments. However, there's one thing that impressed the hell out of me, and that is the fast charging. I mean, it charged up my battery from 0 to 100 in about an hour and a half. This is as good as OnePlus's dash charging. I was obviously sad in the beginning that there is a micro USB port instead of a USB-C port here, but the fast charging makes up all of it for me. They are using some technology called a dual engine charging, where instead of a standard one circuit and one chip design that every smartphone uses, they use two separate circuits and two separate chips to provide power to the battery. So basically the battery is getting power ultimately from two sources and hence getting to charge faster. Plus for the fast charger, you get that inside the box. It's an 18-watt charger. You don't have to go out and buy a new one. So that's also really good. So coming to the battery finally, the battery was slightly on the lower side, but looking at the fast charging, I don't have many complaints here. So now coming to the final question, should you buy the Vivo V11 Pro or not? Before I tell you that, let me tell you what the other phones in this price range are, and I have a very clear idea of where to place this. Now, if you're someone who's a performance enthusiast, if you're someone who doesn't really care on how good looking a phone is, but wants most function out of their phone, so basically function over form, and you're someone who doesn't really care if you have the greatest quality display or the best looking display around, but you want to have the greatest performance of all, you know where I'm getting it, because you should buy the Poco F1. This is the armored edition. You can get any version of the Poco and it will serve you very well if it comes to performance. Apart from that, if you're someone who wants a Snapdragon 845 but also wants a premium design, a premium looking design, a good looking small phone, then you can also go for the Asus Zenfone 5Z. It's obviously priced much higher. It's at around 30,000 rupees, or you can also go for the OnePlus 6 if you have the money for it. But I think there is a very good place where the Vivo V11 Pro exists. It obviously has a very unique looking design. It's more unique than the other two. The display is a big player here. I mean, it's one of the best displays that I've seen this year, the notch. It's just a very modern looking phone. You have the in-display fingerprint scanner. You have an infrared face unlock that again the Poco F1 has, but you have that here too. You have great cameras. If you want to see more detailed camera comparison, go and check out our camera comparison with the Poco and the Asus Zenfone 5Z. But if you're someone who wants a modern looking phone with this modern looking display, that in-display fingerprint scanner and good cameras, then I think the Vivo V11 Pro should be a very good option for you. With that, I guess we come to an end of this review. We don't have the official pricing, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be somewhere between 24,000 and 27,000. If it is somewhere between that, then this is a pretty good phone. And also the fact that you'll be able to buy the Vivo V11 Pro all offline also, so you can go into a store and buy the Vivo V11 Pro, is a very great advantage that the V11 Pro has that the 5Z and the Poco F1 don't. So with that, we come to an end of this review. Please let me know what you thought of this in the comment section below. Hit the bell icon, hit the subscribe button before you hit the bell icon, and that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. This is Sreehari from Mr. Phone, and I'll catch you in the next one. So now that you've watched the review, as I said in the beginning of this video, there is a giveaway going on for the Vivo V11 Pro. There is a card here, and also in the description we've given the link for that video. Go and watch that video. Enter the Vivo V11 Pro giveaway contest in one simple step. So go and watch that video. In the end of that video, I've given all the details for the giveaway, so don't miss out your chance to win a Vivo V11 Pro.